Ladies and gentlemen, we have just witnessed something truly historic, one of the most unbelievable world records to ever be set. The past few weeks have already been nothing short of astonishing, with records dropping left and right. We saw Yarden Allo shatter the mile world record at the Millrose Games, clocking in at 3:46. Then Grant Fisher obliterated the 3,000 meter record with a jaw-dropping time of 7:22. As if that wasn't enough, Jakob Ingebrigtsen followed up with another world record in the mile at 3:45. And just when we thought we had seen it all, Fisher returned to completely dismantle the indoor 5,000 meter world record, hitting an insane 12:44. Something is in the air as we enter 2025. Greatness is happening every single day, and today, yet again, we saw another mind-blowing performance unfold in Barcelona, Spain, at the 2025 Mitya Marathon. It wasn't just another record-breaking run, it was a performance so surreal that it left even the most seasoned analysts speechless. Among a field packed with the world's best long-distance runners, one man stood alone, separating himself from the pack before the race had even reached the 10-minute mark. That man was none other than Jacob Kiplimo, the Ugandan sensation who has once again proven why he is a legend in the sport. For context, Kiplimo had already etched his name in the history books, holding the world record in the half marathon for 3 straight years with his 57:31 performance at the Lisbon Half in 2021. But in late 2024, Ethiopian star Yomif Kejelcha managed to snatch the title away from him, barely edging out Kiplimo's record by a single second with a time of 57:30. An unbelievable achievement, no doubt, but what Kiplimo did today in response was nothing short of vengeance in its purest form. Everything was in his favor, the conditions were perfect, with temperatures hovering around 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 0 wind, and a course primed for fast times. Right from the start, you could tell Kiplimo was locked in, dialed into a level of performance that defied belief. His opening 5K split, a blistering 13 minutes and 34 seconds, putting him 20 seconds ahead of Kejelcha's world record pace. That's a tempo of 4:22 per mile or 2:43 per kilometer. If he could maintain this pace, he was set to finish in 57 minutes and 19 seconds, an 11-second improvement on the world record. But here's the thing, not only was he keeping up that pace, he was poised to go even faster. Through the 10K mark, Kiplimo hit an unfathomable 26:46, meaning his second 5K split was an even crazier 13:12. Let that sink in, he was accelerating. At this point, the rest of the field had been obliterated. The next closest runner, Kenya's Jeffrey Kamworor, a former world record holder himself, with a 58-minute 1-second time from 2019, was already trailing by nearly a full minute. Kiplimo wasn't just breaking records, he was rewriting what was thought to be humanly possible. His second 5K split came in at a staggering pace of 4 minutes 14 seconds per mile or 2 minutes 38 seconds per kilometer. This wasn't just an elite performance, it was on another level. It was madness. At this stage in the race, he had positioned himself to finish well under 57 minutes, with a projected time of 56:30, nearly a full minute faster than Kejelcha's record, and yet he still looked ridiculously smooth, showing no signs of strain. Then came the 15K split, and this is where history truly unfolded. Kiplimo crossed the 15K mark in 39 minutes and 47 seconds, an entire minute faster than the standing world record for this distance. And here's the kicker, he already held that record himself, having set it in 2024 at 40:42. Today, he became the first athlete in history to break 40 minutes for 15K under any conditions. His split for this last 5K, a ridiculous 13:01. That means from 10K to 15K, he was running at a pace of 4:11 per mile or 2:36 per kilometer. At this point, listing off these splits feels like an Olympic level workout itself. The numbers don't even seem real. His 10K split from 5K to 15K came in at 26 minutes 13 seconds, faster than any recorded road 10K in history, and just 2 seconds shy of Joshua Cheptegei's 10,000 meter world record on the track. Let's not forget, he had already run a 5K before this at 13:34. To put this in perspective, this 15K performance alone scored 1,330 points on the World Athletics scoring table, making it the single highest scoring road running performance ever recorded, higher than Ruth Chepngetich's legendary 2 hours 9 minutes and 56 seconds marathon, higher than Kelvin Kiptum's astonishing world record of 2 hours 0 minutes and 35 seconds, higher than anything we have ever seen in road racing history. At this point, there was no question. Kiplimo was set to obliterate the world record. All he had to do was hold on. But the final 5K wouldn't just be about breaking the record. It was about how deep into the unknown he was about to push. With 5K to go, the outcome was inevitable. Kiplimo wasn't just going to break the record, he was about to shatter it. At the 20K mark, he clocked in at a jaw-dropping 53:42. Yes, there was a bit of a slowdown in the final stretch, but at this point, it didn't even matter. He had built such an absurd lead over the previous world record pace that, barring a complete collapse, history was about to be made in the most dominant fashion possible. At this stage, the only thing left for him to do was cross the finish line and let the world take in what had just happened. And when he finally did, stopping the clock at 56 minutes and 42 seconds, it was one of the most surreal moments the sport had ever seen. This wasn't just breaking a record, this was demolishing it. Kejelcha's previous world record of 57 minutes and 30 seconds? Gone, obliterated by a whopping 48 seconds. In the world of elite distance running, where record improvements usually happen in mere seconds, this was generational. To put this in perspective, this kind of jump in a world record hasn't been seen in decades. The improvement margin of 1.39% over the previous mark is something we just don't see at the highest levels of competition. Even World Athletics acknowledged how unprecedented this was, comparing it to Bob Beeman's legendary long jump record in 1968, one of the most shocking performances in Olympic history. And honestly, that comparison is more than fair. The way Kiplimo dismantled what was once thought to be an unbreakable barrier is something nobody saw coming, and what made it even crazier was the sheer dominance of his win. The second place finisher, Jeffrey Kamworor, crossed the line in 58 minutes and 44 seconds, an elite time in any other race. But here, he was more than 2 minutes behind. Read that again, 2 full minutes. Kamworor ran what would typically be considered an all-time great performance, and yet he was treated like an afterthought in the wake of Kiplimo's historic run. Watching Kiplimo cross the tape, arms outstretched, a huge grin on his face, you could tell he knew exactly what he had just accomplished. As he ran straight to his agent for a celebratory embrace, the adrenaline was still coursing through his veins. But then, as if his body suddenly realized what it had just been put through, he had to sit down for a second, not out of exhaustion, but more out of sheer disbelief. He had just rewritten the record books in ways nobody could have predicted. At this point, it's hard to argue Jacob Kiplimo is, without a doubt, the greatest half marathon runner to ever live. His return to half marathon supremacy is undeniable, and now the conversation shifts to an even bigger stage. Because as historic as today was, this might just be the beginning of something even greater. Kiplimo is officially set to make his full marathon debut at this year's London Marathon. And after what we just witnessed, the question on everyone's mind is, what's next? For years, the 2-hour marathon has been the holy grail of distance running. Eliud Kipchoge famously broke the barrier in controlled conditions in 2019, but no one has ever done it under legal race conditions. If there's anyone who could do it, it was thought to be Kelvin Kiptum, the Kenyan phenom who tragically passed away earlier this year. His marathon world record of 2 hours, 0 minutes, and 35 seconds was proof that sub 2 hours was within reach, and many believed he would be the one to achieve it. But now, the torch may have just passed to Kiplimo. If he can run this fast for a half marathon, imagine what's possible when he gears up for the full 26.2 miles. Of course, marathons are an entirely different beast, requiring precision, patience, and the right fueling strategy. But what we've just seen suggests that Kiplimo might be the next in line to push the limits of human performance. For now though, let's just take a moment to appreciate what just happened. The half marathon world record didn't just fall today, it was annihilated. And Jacob Kiplimo didn't just reclaim his place at the top, he did it in a way that will be talked about for years to come. So as we turn our eyes toward the London Marathon, one thing is certain, whatever happens next, we are witnessing history in real time. And I, for one, can't wait to see what comes next.